Welcome back, everybody, to Everyday A&P. We're going to continue our series of organelles. The last video, we talked about the mitochondria, its functions, and what it does for the cell. Today, we're going to be talking about the endoplasmic reticulum, also known as the ER. So don't get that mixed up with the emergency room. When we're talking about organelles, we are talking about the endoplasmic reticulum. Alrighty, so there, as you can see from this picture, right, we have two types of endoplasmic reticulums. We have one that has these little circle-shaped structures on them, and then we have another form that doesn't have that, right? And so to classify the difference between the two, we can say that the first one, right, that we talked about is the rough ER, or the rough endoplasmic reticulum, and the other one that doesn't have it, they have the little circles on them, is called the smooth ER, or endoplasmic reticulum. So what is the endoplasmic reticulum? Well, it looks like a net, right? It's a little bit of it looks like a highway. It's got its different routes that it can go to, and it extends from the nuclear membrane, which is attached to the nucleus, which we would find in here. And to learn a little bit more about the nucleus, check out our nucleus video. We made a specific video on the nucleus and its functions for the cell. So it's composed of different cisternae. So these little structures, right, the folds, these are called cisternae. So they're flat, round, and they're tube-like because they can also transport certain things. And they're enclosed within a membrane. So the membrane that we see in these different structures. So as we said, it is divided into two types, the rough and the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So let's talk a little bit more about the rough endoplasmic reticulum. So when we talk about the rough ER, right, what can we take away from it, right? First and foremost, those things that we see that are covered, that are all over, right, these are called ribosomes. Now, what these ribosomes do are they produce or synthesize protein. So the rough endoplasmic reticulum has ribosomes. That's another way that we can say rough ribosomes. And then the smooth ER, put it right underneath it. Like that. Oops. The smooth ER, it doesn't have ribosomes, as we can see from here, right? It's smooth, so it doesn't have ribosomes. So what can its functions be? Well, the smooth, I'll zoom in here, the smooth endoplasmic reticulum is involved, it's involved in lipid metabolism. Lipid metabolism. So, and it does both the breakdown and synthesis of lipids. So, breakdown and synthesis, right? It also, because of lipid metabolism and how it synthesizes lipids, we can also say that it's involved in the production of steroid hormones. Steroid hormones are lipid-based, right? And we also said breakdown. So we can add on to that it also plays a role in detoxification. So it's a form of detox, right? And also stores calcium ions in the muscle. So In muscle cells specifically, right? So in muscle cells also have endoplasmic reticulums, right? It stores calcium ions, otherwise written as Ca2+. And then one note, right, that we wanted to take into account is that the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, right, we said that it was involved in lipid synthesis or lipid production, and that means that it also produces the phospholipid bilayer throughout the cell. All right, so we can also write that it produces the phospholipid bilayer. All right. So that is the component, the membranes that are found throughout the cell. We talked about in our first video classifying the difference between eukaryotic cells and prokaryotic cells. Well, for these eukaryotic cells, the smooth ER is also responsible for the production of that phospholipid bilayer. So we just want to recap this, right? We have the endoplasmic reticulum, which is broken down into two different subsets, right? First, we have our rough ER that is composed of ribosomes, which produce and synthesize proteins. And we also have the smooth ER, found right there, which is responsible for lipid metabolism, steroid hormone production, detoxification, and specifically in muscles, it stores calcium ions. And the smooth ER is also responsible for producing that lipid bilayer that we see not just on the outside of the cell that is the cell membrane, but also the membranes throughout the rest of the cell. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You found it helpful. Please continue liking, subscribing, sharing these videos in the channel, and we'll see you in the next video. Alrighty, take care, everybody.